Hello everybody, it's Peter the Rock. It's Friday the 26th of April. It's my third close-up view of what's going on at HS2. I've had to take... Oh hello! Here comes another segment. That's extraordinary, because it doesn't seem to be lifted by a crane. It's moving along on the trackway. Perhaps there's some vehicle pushing it or pulling it. I don't know, this is very strange. It looks from this angle to be slightly slimmer than that segment. Maybe they're going to slot two segments in this gap between the two peer supported trackways. Now I had to take 10 minutes out. It's now 5:35, 5:40 in the afternoon. I take 10 minutes out to get some more space on my SD card, which I actually don't know what SD stands for, but it's where these videos are stored. And it's amazing really how much information you can put on a tiny little bit of a electronic storage device. But anyway, the crane on the left there has moved sideways, left and right a few times, dropping things off, picking things up, but only minor things. The main crane in the middle of the picture is now moving to the right. For no obvious reason, it's not lifting anything. And the crane on the right is moving to the right. So all three cranes are moving to the right, to Birmingham. And the chugging is no longer like a heartbeat, it's like a cacophony of sound. And they're all moving at the same speed, 0.8 miles an hour is my estimate. And it's rather nice, it's rather uniform. It'd be good to accompany this with a Strauss waltz or something. Then you can enjoy classical music and engineering at the same time. But you can play something on your own musical device while you're watching this, dear listener. Watching cricket, I used to watch cricket on the telly, and the whole idea was to turn the sound off from the television commentators like Richie Benaud and Boycott's batting now. He's not doing very well, he's very slow. I'd turn that sound off and tune into Test Match Special and hear Brian Johnson, England have won the Ashes, England have won the Ashes, and Fred Truman. I just don't know what's going off out there on the radio commentary, overlaying the visuals that you'd see on the TV commentary. Now that was a thing in those days, don't know if it still is, but it gave me a little chance to do a few impressions. But you're not interested in that. What you want to know is, dear viewers, is what's happening with HS2. What's it going to lift next? What crane is going to go where? What bit is going to be inserted in what gap? Will the engineers work till 6 o'clock or knock off at 10:02? It's now 22. The chap on the blue, I've got two bits of news. The chap on the blue cherry picker straight ahead of me has been chipping away, it seems, to bits on the right hand bit of the trackway, or at least doing something with it, preparing it for insertion of a segment, I think. But marvellously, for the first time ever since I've been doing this, just about up there, about 10 minutes ago, I saw a drone. It wasn't just an ordinary drone. This thing was 6 foot wide at least, and it was about, I would suppose, very roughly, about 100 foot up. It was up there. Obviously, I don't know what the drone pilot was scanning. I looked at it, I pointed my, I couldn't point my camera at it because it didn't have any space to film. But he sort of stayed there for a few seconds and then he went off. That could well be a fellow YouTuber called Q Master. So look him up. or her up. It's Cuemaster, and he was nice about me in one of his videos. Maybe he's actually got me in view, but these are, in the distance, I look a bit better than close up, possibly. I don't know. Anyway, there's been some activity up and down the spiral staircases, and of course, this segment has been driven along the trackway without assistance from a crane. The little left-hand crane is now connecting with the yellow cage in between the two segments, and that can only mean one thing. Well, it can mean two things, but the thing I hope it means is it's going to be connecting to the yellow cage and lifting it out, ready for insertion of a segment, or possibly two, on my right. Meanwhile, the middle crane support thing is chugging to the right. It's very intricate, this, isn't it? It's like a sort of the dance of the cranes. But you wouldn't think the left-hand crane would be big enough to lift anything much, but you'd be surprised. It's been very active, moving, piles of metal and a big lump of black stuff. I don't know what that was. There's another lump of black stuff being moved out. I don't know what that is. I hope it's not a bit of the trackway, because that would be a serious problem if they're moving great lumps of it out. But there's a lot of chatter going on, a lot of excitement. Now it's interesting to me that they should move this segment without crane assistance, which weighs several tons, up to 140 tons, I think, and yet move a tiny blob of black stuff, to use a technical expression, using crane assistance. So the main reason for that might well be that the vehicles that move the segment don't really have access to the rest of the trackway, or it's just easier to do two things at once. But there's somebody in control here, and he's operating these cranes. I hear from a vantage point, obviously a viewing point, using a remote control device, electronic signals. Crikey, that's serious. Now, there's a chap's got a step ladder, and he's got up to look at the segment, which is quite interesting. A little bit almost not exactly Heath Robinson, but it's good to see that a household item is being used to help create HS2. And I here give a tribute and thanks to my friend Steve Walker, who has commented on the idea that the segments are initially glued together by naming some of the potential engineers who did it, like Loctite, Larry, and a few other names that I've forgotten. And thankfully, Steve, if you're watching, thank you for your imagination, because it all adds to the excitement and the interest of one of the biggest engineering projects, if not the biggest engineering project in Europe, certainly in the UK. I do get people protesting about HS2 even now, and they say it's a waste of time, waste of space, or whatever, and they put their comments, which are cut and pasted into my videos. But I do sympathise. It's very expensive and may not be worth it, and I agree. But it's pointless arguing about it now, because it's happening. I don't know if there have always been protests about any new project. They probably have. And people have strong opinions, and of course they can't be swayed. Maybe when the whole thing's working smoothly in however many years it is, it might be more appealing. Anyway, there's a big noise, I think, coming from the blue cherry picker in front of me. Oh, it looks like that yellow cage, as I call it, has sort of slightly twisted. So I don't know why that would be. The cherry picker is moving round, and it looks also like the bloke on the cherry picker in the sort of the bit that's lifted is actually controlling where he goes. He's standing by some kind of control system. Thankfully I've still got plenty of space now on my my SD card, or my camera, or both, so I can keep filming. So I'll tell you what I'll do, viewers. As it's now 11 minutes 27 seconds into this, I think I'll stop there, maybe go to the other side, see if there's a different view, see if there's something else is going on, because I don't want to bore you. This is Peter the Rock. It's Friday, getting on for 6 o'clock, Friday the 26th of April. I have seen some ducks. There's one over there. Two of them came up to me, but not too closely. So for animal lovers, I'm afraid it's often the case. There are too few ducks. But I value your viewership and comments, and we'll see if it's worth me doing another video today. Thanks a lot for watching. Peter the Rock on Friday the 26th of April. Cheers.